Hey guys, I'm Emma Ryan, integrative nutrition health coach and founder and owner of Plant. And today we are making Twix bars. If you've been watching this channel long enough, you know I am a sweets person. So Twix bars are one of my childhood favorites, so I love recreating this. It's actually a raw dessert. So you've probably heard me say something about raw desserts in the past. We're using a homemade cashew flour. If you haven't watched my video on how to make your own cashew flour, go watch that first, make your cashew flour, and then come back to this one. Okay, so we are going to use 3 cups of cashew flour, and you can see I've already made my cashew flour here. So we're just gonna dump 3 cups of cashew flour into the bowl. And as you learned on my cashew flour video, 3 cups of cashews equals 3 cups of cashew flour. Now I'm gonna add in a 1/4 cup of pure maple, and then I'm just gonna add a pinch of salt. I don't want a lot of salt, just enough to flavor it a little bit. And then I'm just gonna mix this up. As you can see, I put gloves on so this doesn't get under my nails or stuck to my hands or anything. You don't have to use gloves, but you can. And I'm just gonna mix this up until it all starts to stick together. So as you can see, it's not gonna perfectly, it's not a pie crust, right? It's not gonna be super, super moist, but it is going to be wet enough where it sticks together when you roll it into a ball. And this is exactly how we want it. So now I'm gonna transfer this to my baking dish. So I like using pans with a removable bottom when I'm doing raw desserts, specifically because you can pop it up and you don't have to worry about cutting it or breaking it or anything like that. It just makes it a lot easier. So now I'm just gonna press this crust evenly into the base of my pan. So as you can see, you just press this down as firmly as you can and as evenly as you can. And sometimes it helps to use a spatula to try to help press it down too. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you at least want it to be as even as you can so that when you cut your bars later, they'll have an even crust. Okay, so now you can see that this is pretty evenly spread out. I kind of pulled it off the edges just a little bit so that it would be easy to pop up when I'm done. And now I'm just gonna set this to the side as I get all of my ingredients out for the filling. Okay, so now that I have my crust sitting to the side, I'm gonna make my filling. My filling starts with one 16-ounce jar of plain cashew butter. So this isn't salted or anything like that. So it's just raw cashews made into a butter. So I'm gonna do a full 16-ounce jar and just add that to my blender. So this is kind of our caramel filling, I should say. So we have our cashew butter. I'm gonna add 2/3 cup of pure maple. This will help give it that caramely flavor as well. And then I'm just gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt because we know caramel is kind of salty. And now I'm ready to blend. Okay, so now you can see it's really thick. But it is really well combined. So it's just that cashew butter, the maple, and the salt. And now I'm gonna move this out of the way, and we're gonna spread this out on our crust. Now I have my crust back in front of me, and I'm gonna pour and spread this caramel filling out over the crust. Like I said, it's really thick, so you're gonna have to use a spatula and a spoon to kind of pour this over. If you happen to not have access to cashew butter or are allergic to cashews, you could try another nut. I haven't tried it with anything else personally, but I do think it could be done. It just might taste a little bit different, but that doesn't mean it wouldn't be good. So now I have my caramel, and I'm just gonna spread this as evenly as I can over that crust. So now this is pretty evenly spread. Now we just need to make our chocolate topping. So we'll do that and then pour that on top of this and we'll almost be done. So now that our caramel filling is totally evenly spread, Our topping is just a bag of Enjoy Life dark chocolate chips. So it's a 16-ounce bag mixed with 1/8 cup of melted coconut oil. And you can see it's this really pretty, shiny chocolate glaze. And we're just going to pour this on top of our caramel filling for the topping. So the only reason I use the Enjoy Life chocolate chips is just because they're dairy-free, they're soy-free. They pretty much don't have any allergens to them, but you can use any type of dark chocolate chips if you prefer. So now I'm just gonna spread this chocolate glaze over the top as evenly as I can again. And then we're not gonna cook this since it's a raw dessert. We're actually just gonna let this sit in the freezer until it sets. So it'll take about an hour for this chocolate to harden and for everything to kind of set together. And then we'll take it back out and we'll cut them into Twix bars. All right, so these have been in the freezer for just about an hour. You can see they're completely solidified. It cracked a little bit, but that's okay. So I'm going to pop this out of the pan if I can. It's still pretty cold. And then I'll be able to cut them. Cool, well I hope you guys enjoy these Twix bars as much as I do. Share them with your family, make them for Halloween next year, whatever you wanna do. Be sure to comment below, subscribe, and I will see you next time.